Do I not talk to the boss? I did talk to the boss. All these things are all unfolding because even he said it towards the end there, he knew what he wanted. He knew exactly where his GPS was taking him, and as opposed to letting it spew out in any sort of direction that it was going to go there. And I define that as meekness, where it's just again, where it's it's learning to let your awareness be in control rather than your emotions or your emotional state. Another thing that I wrote down was that emotions, for me, at least what I've noticed, is emotions are actually telling me who I believe that I am. so they're kind of like it's like a guidance system. And we could give over to it and then become the emotion, right? And that's when we like pop off and, I'm going to do all these like terrible things and you just can't think straight. Your amygdala's taken over, you're in fight or flight and so on and so forth. But really what I've come to find is that my emotions are actually trying to tell me something. They're trying, I said it before, but they're trying to tell me that I'm not in my ideal state. That's essentially what they're telling me. I'm not where I want to be. And as you know, like I work on metaphysics a lot with people. So I'm always working towards helping people understand that these emotions and these triggers are actually gifts. If you can wrap your head around that they're actually gifts telling you who you believe you are. So, have y'all ever been in a fight with somebody and you're in the middle of it. You're in the thick of it. You can see that you can't think straight. Like you even in your mind, it's like, what you should be doing. But the emotions are going off and all the stories and this keeps happening. And why does this keep happening to me? Or why does this person keep showing up this way? And then that person, the person that you're dealing with, they start breathing. They just start, their shoulders slouch and they're not talking anymore. And they're not putting logs in the fire. And then you're still in the thick of it. And you're like, I'm not getting and you're just like, I'm not getting out of this. And you just want to fold your arms. And why is this person, you can tell this person's actually being reasonable. That's what I call the opposite of meekness, where it's like, you're aware that you're in a place that you don't want to be. You're aware that the other person isn't where they need to be in order for you to continue being the way you're being. But you decide to stay there because you just want a little bit more of that juice. You still want a little bit more of that poison. That's where I try to play at. Where can I start getting out of that mode when I'm in it? And I bring up the argument as an example because it's such an easy reference for most people, right? They'd be like, oh yeah, I know what that's like. But for the most part, my anger and my emotions and all that stuff is really about me. It's like what I'm going through. Whatever this person is doing right now probably has nothing to do with why I'm experiencing the emotions I'm experiencing. I'm probably experiencing the emotions I'm experiencing because I've never actually dealt with this emotion. And this person happens to be the one that triggered that out of me. So what I need to learn how to do, and what we people need to learn how to do, is to start recognizing that the person only did their job. What was their job? To show me that I have unconscious emotions that I haven't dealt with. Now, I'm not saying in that moment that you do need to deal with it. That's not my point. My point is to say, start playing the game of awareness. Start playing the game of noticing. That way we get out of those habitual patterns. It's like, yeah, the last time that happened, I reacted this way. Why did I react that way? I reacted that way because I was feeling something. And the thing I was feeling wasn't even true. Oh, okay. Well, maybe I just don't know. Like maybe I don't know. I don't know why I'm having this emotion. I don't know why this person's saying this thing. I don't know why I'm saying this thing. I don't know. That helps me separate from what I think is happening, what I know to be happening, and playing from that place. So what I picked up for the most part is meekness. And then it was about that attitude awareness that he has. Like he knows, he said it himself, I'm a leader. This is an opportunity for me to show my leadership. That's attitude awareness, right? He knew what he wanted and he stepped into what he wanted, into that state of already having that leadership position, as opposed to the lack of that leadership position, which would have just perpetuated the anger, perpetuated the discomfort, perpetuated the argument. And so that's what I wrote down. I mean, there was a lot that Chris shared with us, a lot of gold in that.
There absolutely was a lot of gold in that. A couple of things I want to touch on that, from both sides of what you guys shared. One piece of it is the accountability piece of it, because that's another thing. Because, Chris, you alluded to that a little bit in what you spoke about. But when I say accountability, we are accountable to our emotions, or more importantly, how we respond from our emotions. So that's part of the emotional intelligence piece of it, is being accountable for what you do put back out based on what your emotions and what you're feeling. That's 100% you. The other person, as Jerry was just talking about, it's almost like they give you this gift of making you aware of it. But now that you are aware, you are also accountable to it and need to then figure out, how do I then put this back out? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What do I want to gain? As Jerry asked that question, what do you want? And Chris, just like you said, I'm a leader. I want to use that skill and that position to elevate this relationship, not burn it to the ground, right? So, but that's a choice you made, and you actually took the ownership and accountability to push it in that direction. So that's the one thing I wanted to bring up when we talk about our emotions. And that's it's funny. I just did a post the other day, and that's really what it was saying was, do you have control of your emotions, or are your emotions controlling you, right? And a lot of people, I think, are unfortunately in that space of letting their emotions control them versus taking control of them for themselves. And part of that is awareness,